All right, welcome everybody to the last class of the year. Today is the lesson number 10, and we will be looking at analyzing the chapter number 13 from Peter Levine's groundbreaking seminal book called Waking the Tiger. Chapter 13 is called The Blueprint of Repetition. It's all about the traumatic incidents repeating themselves. We keep going through the similar experiences over and over and over again in our lives. Today we're going to be talking about that. I hope that you guys have read the chapter in advance. I am sure 100% you all have. So I'm confident that we can have a deep analysis of the chapter. But before we start, a quick review before the repetition, before the blueprint. If you remember, in face of a threat, our autonomous nervous system, ANS, not AANS, I'm sorry, ANS, autonomous nervous system, mobilizes the survival energies. If we have a successful defense, meaning escape or a fight, the energy is discharged. The charge of energy is discharged, and we are back to normal sense of safety. Otherwise, the energy stays stuck on the inside, undischarged, unresolved. Alarm bells keep ringing on the inside, even though the actual threat is no longer there. The body stays stuck in a defensive mode. We are already familiar with this concept, right? The one picture I want you to remember from this class when you move on is this. When the survival energy hasn't been discharged, when the survival energy hasn't been released, the internal energy, internally stuck energy, it's like a wild animal locked in a cage. And the wild animal will do anything in its power to get out, to gain its freedom. It will never accept this new situation. It will fight and scream and kick and jump. It's the same thing with the internally stuck energy. If the survival energy is stuck on the inside, it will try all kinds of ways and create symptoms. The symptoms are physiological and psychological reactions to the disorganized, stuck, locked energy on the inside. So if we think about it from this lens, the reenactment of trauma, what does that mean? Some people keep having similar experiences or same experiences of that traumatic incident in their lives. What does that look like? Accidents, mishaps, mishappenings, repeating relationship patterns. Oh, I keep having the same experiences in the relationship. People make me feel like I'm not worth it. People make me feel like I'm not beautiful. People make me feel like I'm not heard. People make me feel like this and that. You know, the similar things keep happening in relationships. Sometimes random incidents that look like coincidences, but there's a similarity between them. Bodily symptoms, you know, some things on your skin, things in your eyes, things in your lungs. Psychosomatic symptoms, meaning when disturbance in the psychology gets so much that it leaks into the physicality, or children having certain themes in their plays. Like when children, they get sexually abused or their boundaries are violated. It's a very intense experience for them, and they will bring it into their plays with other kids to try to make sense of it. They will reenact same situations, similar situations, and just to try to understand what went on, right? And then more abuse gets created between children as well. So So bodily symptoms, repeating patterns in relationships, kids bringing traumatic experiences into play. When when we're trying to make sense of this, Peter Levine, like he always does, says, let's look at the animals. Let's look at them. What's different between animals and us? What happens in the animal world about this reenactment of trauma? Reenactment meaning it's like there's a theater scene and we are replaying the incident in a theater. And Peter Levine says that we have genetically coded, genetically programmed behaviors inside of us, and the reenactment is one of those such reprograms. In the book, there's an example of three cheetahs, three little puppy baby cheetahs, being attacked by a lion and surviving the attack by climbing the tree. So a lion comes in when the cheetah mom is not there, and there are three babies, and the babies run to the tree and they climb, and then they're saved. After the lion is gone, after their mom comes and they're calmed, they're tranquilized, or they're calm, they start to play this incident. They start to act it out. They start to reenact it. One cheetah plays the lion and attacks the other ones. The other ones run in a play to save themselves. One time they run straight lines. Another time they run zigzags. Another time they run all together. And another time they split and they make the attacker hesitate for a moment. Then they gain one more second in time. And then they change. The other puppy becomes the lion and attacks them. And then they go to the tree and they climb the tree. They climb different trees. They climb different sides of the tree. So they reenact a traumatic incident in an attempt to make sense of it and in an attempt to learn from it. When there's a traumatic incident, and they reenact it so that they can exercise certain skills and that they don't have to be weak the next time something like this happens, right? So this reenactment is good in two different levels. One is that they run and they play and they discharged the stuck energy on the inside. The energy is released. And two, they keep playing this game and they become experts in a situation like this. They learn a new skill, right? So the next time they're attacked by a lion, this new skill is embedded in them. They will not run a straight line, but they will do zigzag. They will not run together, but they will split. They will go to the tree and run in different rhythms. So this is what they learn from this trauma. And that's the same thing in human life. When we have a traumatic experience and we have a good experience afterwards, we're able to heal it and integrate it. We can think about it and we can learn from it, so that when it happens, or something like this happens in the future, we are more prepared. We're not just caught unprepared, right? Now, obviously in the West, we don't have such culture. We don't have similar culture. Even if we start talking about traumas, it raises emotions in our listeners, and it's difficult for people to be with their own emotions. So it's not easy for people to listen to trauma. So we don't know what to do with it. But remember the tribal communities, the collective cultures that we call primitive. We had spoken about that a while ago. In the primitive cultures, the traumatic events are reenacted in a ritual, in a theatrical way, right? Like the village has been attacked by another village, they play this out in a ritual. Someone dresses up like the devil or the villain or the bad guy. People, they throw stones at him. The guy acts out as if he's defeated and is dying. They take out the devil and they throw it to the fire. There's a god that comes. They give him offerings. They give him fruits, um, you know, and all of this reenactment, all of this ritual is done in a dance, you know, with drums playing very loud rhythms, and they sing and they scream and they use movements and they discharge all that energy and they release all that energy and they express their emotions. The emotions are not stuck on the inside. There's so much release of emotions. And the whole village acknowledges the trauma. You know, everybody understands that certain people are traumatized, and and for the one who's traumatized, I can realize that my trauma is accepted, is acknowledged, is embraced. You know, I'm not alone. I'm not isolation lonely, but I'm being embraced and contained by the community. Right? So these ceremonies are to be participated by the whole village, and it creates a collective healing. Right? Does this make sense? Is everybody, are you guys following what I'm saying? All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good, good, good. Now, if we look at the Western approach, thank you, Nilüfer, we have also spoken about this. There's the medical perspective. We're looking at the problem. The focus is on the symptom. Oh, you have a headache. Oh, you have obsessive thoughts. Oh, you have depressive behaviors. Oh, you have anxiety. Oh, you have, you know, whatever. You have attention disorder. And the focus is on diagnosing it. And look at the words that we use: disease, disorder, illness, right? There are symptoms that need to be suppressed, that need to be numbed. I'm going to give you medication so that you don't feel your sorrow, you don't feel your pain, you don't feel your um, anger, right? But there is no inquiring on what is it that creates these symptoms? What is the function of these symptoms? What is happening so that the organism is trying to tell us something? That's not how it functions in the West. You know, we don't understand that the collective power from the unconscious in trauma rises up, and it impacts our daily thoughts, daily behaviors, and that instead of forgetting it, instead of suppressing it, we have an option to look at it and make it more visible so that we all see it and we all work for the resolution, for the healing of it. That's not how the Western mind functions, unfortunately. It's a very sad thing. And I'm going to repeat this again. As young psychologists, as new psychologists, I want you to remember this, please, always. When someone comes to your consult, when someone comes to your office and needs to talk about it, need to talk about their trauma, need to talk about what disturbs them, stop looking at the problem, stop looking at the symptom and diagnosing them. No one has ever been helped leaving a psychologist's office saying, oh my God, I understand. I have an obsessive compulsive disorder. I have an attention deficit disorder. These complex words doesn't help anyone. As psychologists, we need to understand that these people carry something underneath these symptoms. And their first need is to be seen, is to be understood, is to be heard, is to be held, embraced, included, is someone to tell them there's nothing wrong with you. You had an experience that was very, very intense. I'm really sad that you had this experience, but I hear you. I'm with you. We're going to get through this together. Rather than labeling them with some kind of a disorder in a Western way, right? Let's think of let's think from this perspective. How can I help them release and discharge and feel like they belong again? Yeah. So in the book, Peter Levine gives an interesting example of a near car crash. He talks about, you know, a hypothetical example of two drivers. One is an ideal resolution, two is not an ideal resolution. So the example is that I'm driving, and a car comes towards me It's a very dangerous situation. I do a little zigzag and I pull to the right, and I'm barely saved. The car hasn't touched me. Let's say a yellow Mercedes, but I almost had a very fatal accident, and my nervous system is amped up, is activated. My heart is pumping, my blood is pressuring my veins, I'm out of breath, my brain is all over the place thinking thoughts. So the I pull over to the right, and in the ideal situation, I stop for a moment and I look at my body and I realize that my body is activated. I have vibrations all over my body, in my back, in my arms, in my chin. I am all fight or flight. I'm all activated in the defensive system. Why? Because my body is flooded with adrenaline and cortisol. So what do? I focus on my body and the body's sensations. I realize that these vibrations, these buzzing, needs movement. So I get out of the car and I start to move. I move my arms, maybe I throw punches and kicks. I move my neck, I move my jaw, I open my mouth, I breathe deeply, I make some noises. Maybe I scream, I jump, maybe some emotions come, I cry, maybe I curse, but I focus on the energy of the body, right? And I do this long enough, and then I sit down and I breathe. I start to calm my body down. If an emotion comes, I release it. Then slowly my neocortex starts to come back, right? Because the neocortex was gone. And I start to think, what could I have done in this situation next time so that I'm not in such danger? Maybe I was listening to music and I was spaced out, I was dissociated. Maybe I should pay more attention to the road next time, right? Maybe the light was too low. I need to increase my car lights. Maybe I was on the phone, and this experience teaches me that I shouldn't be on my phone, right? Right. So I think about the ways I could improve my my driving skills so that I don't find myself in this situation anymore. I think about this, and I go home, and I tell this incident to my family, and maybe I cry a little bit, and people come and comfort me. They say, "Oh my God, we're really sorry, and we're so glad that you're home. We're happy that you made it." They hug me, they show me love, and they show me that I'm important for them. And my nervous system relaxes and goes back to social mode. At night, I don't feel alone. I sleep. My brain processes it. Maybe I dream. And in the morning, I wake up, and this event is in the past. It's like a memory stored in the library of millions of memories, but without an emotion attached to it, right? There's no emotion attached to it, but there's a learning from it as well. So this is an ideal resolution of an intense event. But not always humans, we don't always find the ideal situation to be able to release this energy. Or it's not even that we don't find the situation, we don't know that this is what we need to do. We don't understand the mechanism. What do people do in a situation like this? They light a cigarette. Oh, I need to smoke. Why? Because I need to suppress my emotions. I need a drink. I need to numb myself. Or let me get on my phone and distract myself. I can't express my emotions. What do people think? What will they say about me if I scream, if I cry, if I act out? So in a second scenario, I'm the driver and I pull over and I don't know anything about body or reptilian brain or sensations and all that stuff, right? So what do? I'm flooded with emotions. I'm flooded with adrenaline. My body is buzzing. My body's constricted. There's so much energy, so much tension. and there's a huge activation that I don't know what to do with. So I can't tolerate this activation, and that activation then turns into an emotion in my second level of the brain. From the reptilian brain to the mammalian brain, it translates as anger, as rage. In English, there's a term called road rage. And that rage is very intense. I need to channel it somewhere. I need to put it to somewhere. And my neocortex comes and starts to think, because my neocortex comes back and lands on top of this anger. And where does my anger go? Think of a situation like this. Where does your anger go? What do you start to think about? I'm starting to think about that stupid driver. I want to kill him. I want to chase that car, stop him, take that idiot out of the window and squeeze his neck. And I want to hurt him. I want to teach him a lesson, right? So I start to fantasize about them. What's happening now? The energy is stuck and fantasies are overwhelming my brain. He destroyed my life. He destroyed my day. He doesn't even know that he has hurt me. So I'm going to find him and teach him a lesson. So I drive with the intention of finding that car. Maybe I find the car 3 streets down. I go out and I get next to the car that's parked, and I start to hit it and I start to kick it, or I break its window, or I break its mirror, because I need to discharge that energy. And I'm in revenge. It's revenge. As I'm doing this, all of a sudden I realize people are coming towards me and they're screaming, "What are you doing? What's wrong with you?" Because they don't know the story. When I see these people, immediately I come back to my senses. What do I feel? I feel shame. I feel like something's wrong with me, or I'm guilty because people are yelling at me. I feel like I've done something wrong. I feel like I'm going to have to explain myself to a police. Now I'm guilty. I'm the victim, but I'm guilty. So I get into my car and I drive. I come home, but it's difficult to tell my family what I've done, because what I've done was, in a socially acceptable way, wrong. I went out and I'm unharmed, but I went out and I harmed someone else's car, right? Maybe that was a pregnant woman who was trying to go to the hospital. I don't know. My neocortex wasn't there. But now that I'm thinking, I feel wrong. So I cannot share my story honestly with my family. I feel shame. I feel scared. I feel like someone has followed me and they're going to report me to the police. So I don't feel like I'm heard. I feel isolated. And I go to bed in trauma. I wake up next morning. The event is not just in the past. It's embedded with an emotion in my memory. See, that's the difference. When the trauma is resolved, it becomes just another event without an emotion. But an unresolved event carries a feeling with it in the memory. When I think about it, the feeling comes with it, right, from different parts of the brain. So every time I am driving around the same area, same street, what happens? My body starts to tense up. Every time I go around the yellow Mercedes, the same type of car, my body starts to give me signals, unconscious, disorganized signals. And this is trauma. So this is trauma because the disorganized energy keeps giving me signals. And this is called acting out. Acting out. Internalizing versus externalizing. This is externalizing. Now, from this comes a very interesting concept called justice and revenge, right? Here I wrote significant portion of human behavior. Significant portion of human behavior, meaning 80% of everything that you do is performed from hyperaroused states due to incomplete responses to threat. So many things we do in life is because of an incomplete defensive reaction that's stuck on the inside. It's illogical, it's unreasonable, it's unintelligent, it's unconscious. It's the reenactment of internal drives, right? So we call this, again, acting out. Acting out is the external projection of internal energies, external projection of internally stuck energies, survival energies. And I chose all these superheroes, these angry superheroes, the Punisher, you know, Uma Thurman and Kill Bill, the Supergirl, the Hulk, the Batman, the Joker. If you think about all these fellows, the common thing in their stories is that they've been wronged. Someone has hurt them, someone has done something wrong to them, and they're out for revenge, right? And imagine how many songs, how many books, how many movies, how many TV shows are about revenge, about justice, right? As humans, we are hypnotized, we're mesmerized, we're fascinated by the lives of people who have these experiences. We read about serial killers. There are tons of movies about serial killers. It's insane. About revenge stories, right? Why is that? Why is that? Why we're so fascinated about justice and people who are doing things for justice, and they take out their revenges and they punish their, you know, perpetrators. Why are we so fascinated by that? Because that interest, that fascination, that attraction comes from the need of our internal unresolved conflicts. I need to resolve my traumas. I need to take my anger out. I have so much anger inside me and I cannot do anything about it. I'm sitting on top of it with a bunch of symptoms, and I love people who can. I'm a fan of people who can. I'm fascinated. I love reading people who act out their anger, who act out their revenges, because I haven't been able to do it myself. Right? This is reenactment. Other people do it, and I watch them and I take pleasure because of my own needs. Right. So this is Peter Levine's theory, and he says that if we are sitting on top of these mountains of unexpressed anger, injustice, you know, being wronged, then we'll be fascinated for people who can do something about that. But if we can renegotiate our traumas, then we won't need to reenact them. So that's Peter Levine's theory here. We either renegotiate and resolve our traumas, or they keep reenacting themselves over and over and over and over again, trying to make us do something about it. And all of that energy comes from the internalized shame, lack of justice, fear, helplessness, the inability to protect ourselves. Like these are like the residues that are stuck on the inside. Now, and the unfortunate thing and the sad thing is, what happens when people come to psychologists saying, I have anger problems, you know? A lot of people call me and say, oh, my husband has anger problems. Can you do something about it? Do you have an anger management program? Do you have an anger control program? How can we control this anger? How can we manage this anger? So this is the way we think about anger, right? And sometimes we even think that these behaviors, these thoughts are planned, they're conscious, they're intelligent. No, they're completely unintelligent, unconscious actions that come from the lower levels of the brain. The bottom level, the mid level of the brain, they're boiling, whereas your neocortex is sitting with its hands tied. It's not a choice. You know, we talk about the free will. What is free will? Do you think you're deciding everything with your neocortex? Do you think you're very intelligent? Do you think all of your actions are consciously, intelligently, reasonably, logically made decisions? No, your neocortex is just like a servant, like a stupid servant. Yes, I don't think so either, Yamur. Your neocortex is a servant just trying to make sense of all these internal drives and trying to complete them in the best way it can. So remember the tree and brain. Remember the tree and brain. What do we see if we look at it from this context? It's all about the biological drives, the biological impulses, instincts, reflexes, motivations that lay at the bottom part, at the survival part. They get translated into emotions in the mid layer, in the middle layer, and the upstairs part that is a meaning making machine. Please remember this word. We are, as humans, we're just meaning making machines. We encounter things and we're not objective, we're not open-minded, we just make meanings out of things because that's how we try to survive. So we create stories, we create narratives, we create subjective interpretations, and then we end up believing in them, right? Oh, my last 2 girlfriends cheated on me. I'm making a meaning of it, and I say all the women, they cheat on men. No woman is trustworthy. So I made a meaning of it. I made a subjective interpretation, and I start to believe it as if it's reality. No, it's just my bottom level of brain, my mid level of brain sends signals, and my my neocortex is just trying to make sense, make a meaning. It creates a story, it creates an interpretation. So I wrote here, top to bottom from bottom up. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to write bottom up versus top down. Now, top down is the type of therapy modalities that work with thinking, like the cognitive therapies. Let me change the way you think, and that's how you change the way you feel, right? Those are the ones that work cognitively, trying to influence your thinking, you know, repeating thoughts, or let's change your behavior and that will change the way you feel. So these are from top to bottom. Whereas bottom up are the ones that focus on emotions, on sensations, like the somatic work, the somatic experiences, the body-oriented therapies, or emotional therapies, where someone is feeling an emotion and I'm helping them feel that emotion, understand that emotion, learn how to contain that emotion so that it's not too much. You know, we contain it piece by piece, 10% at a time. When an emotion comes, I need to learn how to cry. I need to learn how to express. I need to learn how to process. Then the way I think will change. So if this is bottom up, start from the body and the mind will follow. And top down, meaning let's start from the neocortex, let's change the way you think, and then your body will follow, and then your emotions will follow. Good luck with that. So these are two different ways of looking at psychology, in a sense. And I imagine you can guess which one I favor more. So these are either discharge of the charge, meaning resolving the energy kind of processes, versus cognitive and behavioral processes. Which brings me to my last point, my dear friends, is that the importance of awareness, the importance of understanding this technology, the importance of the ability to use this technology to our advantage, right? Because in our culture, the internal landscape is not very, it's not a known phenomena. We don't focus on it, right? We're always on our phones. We're always thinking. We're always doing things. You know, no one teaches us how to feel our emotions, how to sense our body sensations. So there's a map on the inside. It's like you know how to get from Taksim to Kadıköy, or you know how to get from Nişantaşı to Etiler, but you don't know how to move inside your body, inside your senses, right? There are a lot of cultures where dreams, impulses, instincts, you know, the sixth sense, the emotions, the drives, these are sacred and we pay attention to them and we learn from them. There are a lot of cultures where meditation is absolutely essential. The Zen, the Tantra, the yoga, the yogic traditions, a lot of Eastern traditions. Whereas us, we always focus on the outside and what is externalized, what is acted out, what is the symptom, right? If we were to be able to understand that the body releases adrenaline and cortisol and narcotic endorphins, and these create all these emotions, and on top of those, thoughts are created, our lives would change, right? So because we've talked about how this system is an ancient system, is a very old technology, where in order to survive, we needed activation of energy. If a lion is coming at me, I need to raise my energy, fight or flight, release the energy, and come back down. And if you think about it, it's a genius idea. It's like a Ferrari. It's a perfect technology. But in the contemporary world, today's times, where we're enslaved by our social atmosphere, by electronics and all that, we're very susceptible to trauma. We're very susceptible to trauma. Like it's a dead-end street. And because we lost our animal instincts, we fall victim to trauma. But what will save us from the situation is exactly what separates us from animals, which is our awareness. If we can slow things down, and start becoming aware of what's going on in our bodies, we can separate the thoughts from our emotions, the meanings that we make because of our traumas. If we can see them differently, see them separately, then all these patterns start to dissolve and change. And that requires therapy, a good therapist's help, and awareness, a lot of awareness, a lot of uh, internal journeying. So that is it. That's all I want to say today. How is that? Are things make sense? Do you understand it? Do you have any questions? Anything you'd like to share about what you've heard today? All right. Good, 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 good. Nice. Happy New Year to you too as well. All right. Good. Everybody happy so far then? Yeah, there's a question from Nawar. Nawar, where did that question go? Hold on. Why did I not see that question? Now, where you wrote a question, I saw it, but it's disappeared. Why did it disappear? I cannot see it now. Where is that? Do you mind turning on your microphone and asking it with your voice? Can you do that, please? Or if there's a problem, can you, oh, there it is. So if you don't mind this question, of course I don't mind the question. Thank you for asking the question. Is it possible for the trauma that forms in our minds to pour a certain pain in an area of the body? I don't know if you understand what I mean, but this kind of thing happens sometimes when one remembers something that painful happened. So it get a pain in shoulder, for example, or maybe legs are shaking horribly, so it can't stop. Yeah. That's a good question. That's a good question. So if I understand correctly, what you're saying is a part of our body might be stuck in some kind of a loop, some kind of a trauma loop. Yes, that's a situation that I see quite often in my therapy room. What happens is someone comes in, for example, with a car accident, and I take it very slow to talk about the accident. You know, maybe the first session we don't talk about anything of that. We create a relationship, we make contact. In the second session, he wants to talk about the car accident, but I slow him down. I ask him questions about what was happening before the accident. I ask him to just think about the accident, and that might be enough for his body to get activated. And then I watch his body, how he breathes, how he feels the constriction in his chest. And I ask him questions. What's going on in your body right now? Sometimes I see people's legs shaking or moving very slightly. This tells me that maybe, I'm imagining in the back of my head, maybe in the event of the trauma, he wanted to hit the gas pedal, or he wanted to push his body away from a place, or he wanted to put his foot somewhere to move from its foot, and he couldn't. And that reflex of whatever he wanted to do with his foot is stuck there, and his foot still wants to do it. Sometimes people report things like, oh, I feel like a tingling vibration in my hand. And I try to ask them specific questions about what position was your body in when this happened. You know, they tell me this stuff, and then I realize that, yes, there was something they wanted to do with their hands, but the hand was stuck. Maybe he wanted to raise his hand to protect his face, but he couldn't. So the part of that reaction is stuck inside the specific part of the body. Or there's a problem in the neck because he wanted to turn his head from an upcoming danger, and he couldn't. And his neck got stuck trying to turn south. Even though the actual danger isn't there, the self-protection response that wanted to come out at that moment, that couldn't come out, got stuck, locked inside the body. So what I need to do is to get them to talk about this incident in a very gentle way, in a very incremental way. That means I'm not going to ask them all these intense questions and ask them to talk about the trauma very fast, but it might take 5-6 sessions. But when they slowly talk about it, I will slow them down and ask them, what would your body want to do right now? Maybe they will say, oh, I want to turn my neck. Okay, turn your neck, but very, very, very slowly, feeling every millimeter, every inch of that movement of your neck, realizing that your neck needed to do that movement, but it couldn't. And also notice what else is happening as you're turning your neck. Oh, my left shoulder is trembling. Okay, great. Let's also pay attention to there. What else is happening? A sense of fear comes. Great. Is it tolerable? Can we feel that fear? Is it okay to feel it? If it's too much, let's not feel it. But if it's tolerable, let's feel it a little bit, because that fear needs to come up. Anger comes. Okay, let's feel that anger. What does your body want to do with that anger? So I don't just talk about the incident, but talk about the story of the body in the sessions to see what was the need of the body, and to show them that the body still needs to process it. It's not just enough to process it in the mind. And usually when these unreleased reactions, these unreleased reflexes, they start to get released in a conscious way, in a very slow, very understanding way. A lot of emotions come out from underneath. They get released as well. And I do titrate, meaning I take it very slow with these emotions. I allow the person to release these emotions, and the body starts to feel a little bit more relaxed after that. So yeah, there are parts of the body that always hold these tensions. Sometimes in situations where you were under attack, you were a kid and your father was abusing you, or someone that you couldn't do anything up against was doing something to you, and the energy was mobilized, but you had to stop that energy, and certain joints locked themselves to block that energy from flowing, right? So there might be some joint pains. Maybe some muscles were so activated, but you had to stop them. So maybe there's some energy stuck in certain muscles that couldn't do a movement, right? So yeah, I know it's a long-winded answer, but yes, Nawar, absolutely. There are a lot of somatic indications in the body that tell the story. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score by, what was this guy's name? The Body Keeps the Score. That tells all about, the body keeps the story of what happened. That tells the story of that. It was an interesting book. Yeah. Was I able to answer your question? Did I answer your question? Beden kayıt tutar ha. Kimdi onun yazarı? Body Keeps the Score. Yeah, so that's a good book. Yeah, Bessel van der Kolk. Thank you, Elif. Yeah. Yep. Elif, can you write the book to the chat box, please? Bessel van der Kolk, I think that's the name of the author, and the name of the book is The Body Keeps the Score. Thank you. So that's the name of the book. Yeah. If you're interested in this type of psychology and the perspective that I'm teaching you, this book is a good book to read, as well as any other book by Peter Levine. They're very informative about the somatic psychology. Good stuff. Anything else? Any other questions? Oh, Nawar, that's very nice of you. You're going to miss the class. That you've learned so much in such a fun way. I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. That makes me very happy to hear that. Thank you. Yeah. Great. Thank you. All right. Yeah. And thank you for the question. I can feel that you really want to learn things. You're very engaged. You always ask questions. I appreciate that. All right, kids. Have a lovely last day of the year. I wish you all the best. And I hope that next year will bring you a lot of curiosity, a lot of learning, a lot of growth, a lot of excitement. Big hug to all of you. Take care. I guess asking about the exam. Again, I don't know. I think next week is the last class, and then the week after that is the exam. The school made it in person first, and today I've heard that they've changed it to online. I'm going to look it up. I'll tell you all about it next week. Don't worry. You'll be fully informed about the exam next week. All right? You're welcome, sir. All slides are uploaded. I wish you a happy new year. Have a good rest of the year, folks. Bye bye. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.